Okay guys, in this video I'm with my friend Alan Ward. We're at the Brecon Beacons. We're not far from Pen y Fan. So Alan is the face behind Bigfoot Marketing. So with that said, I'll let Alan tell you a little bit about what he does himself. He does mountaineering, lots of free events and stuff like that. He's a big member of this community. So in your own words, Al, what is it you do and how are you involved in this area?
Hey, morning. I'm a freelance international mountain leader. The Brecon Beacons is my home for most of my work. I run all my activities through my company, Bigfoot Services Limited. I'm a member of the Walking the Brecon Beacons group. I sometimes provide free introduction to mountain navigation for courses, and I've just done a first aid course for them. So I have a corporate social responsibility policy that if I have time, I'll try and do some training for people on a free of charge complimentary basis to get people more used to the mountains, coming out and running their own activities on a safe basis.
Got you, yeah. Yeah, so also as well guys, I'll put the links below this video as well, so if you want to go and check out Alan's Facebook or Alan's website, I'll put those links below. Go and check those out. So you know, I noticed how last week I drove past Pen y Fan. It was a terrible day and it was absolutely packed. What's your kind of feelings on how busy this place is getting? Do you think it's a good thing for the area? Do you think it's a bad thing?
Wow, that's a tricky one, but hey, outdoor hill and mountain walking is generally good for your fitness. The outdoors are here to be shared by everybody. Honeypot sites like Pen y Fan can attract an awful lot of people. The infrastructure isn't good enough. The toilets are actually currently closed by Powys County Council, and there's 3 or 4 portaloos there. But on some weekend days you can have mountain challenge events with 500 to 1,000 people there.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think there needs to be better control of the mountain by the National Trust who own it. I run treks and expeditions overseas as well. I've got a Everest base camp trip coming up in November. I've got a trip to the Nubra Valley in the remote part of Ladakh in the Indian Himalayas in the end of July. Very excited about that. It's an area that sees few visitors, so logistically challenging. We'll be leaving the Nubra Valley over a 5,400 metre path, so it will be a challenge for those involved.
Yeah. Bigger than Pen y Fan then.
Just a bit.
So yeah, I'll have a talk to you about the mountaineering trips, but focusing on Pen y Fan, for anyone who's not local to the area, you know, what's your favourite places of Pen y Fan? Is there any secret, not secret places, but lesser known places that people can visit?
In the Brecon Beacons National Park?
Yeah.
There are lots of secret places that I have to kill you if I shared them with you.
Yeah.
So, but no, I love the western part of the national park.
Yeah.
The Carmarthenshire Black Mountains. My favourite walk in the whole national park is over there.
Yeah.
And we walk from Herbert's Quarry back to Craigonos. And I try and make that an overnight experience.
Right,
So
yeah.
a little mini expedition if you like.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think the last time I did the walk with 4 mountain candidates I've been training with, I think we saw 2 other people on the first day,
Right.
and nobody on the second day. We had it to ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you put your tents up, maybe have a little whiskey, cook dinner, it's peace and quiet. It's heavenly.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And kind of that's what a lot of people are trying to get out here, but it seems to be getting busier and busier.
You'll never get that experience up Pen y Fan.
No, that's right.
It's the highest mountain in southern Britain, the highest point in the Brecon Beacons National Park.
Yeah,
So if people are coming for one day, they're going to do it.
yeah.
Across the road, on the west side of the A470, is Van Bower. Fabulous mountain, where you can get a real feeling of remoteness. Although the summit of Van Bower is no further from the A470 than Penavan is. But because Penavan is higher,
Everybody
it
wants
draws
to
the
go
crowds.
Yeah.
I would never tackle Penavan on a weekend or a bank holiday.
Right.
Just the hassle of parking, the poor facilities there. Hey, everything needs to be improved.
Yeah.
And there is a plan. It is going to happen this year. The National Park have approved planning permission for a new car park, which will be commissioned by the National Trust who own Penavan.
Yeah.
So we're all waiting to see how that is. But with major events, they'll just fill the car park at 5 o'clock in the morning. So there needs to be a better management, I think. Some alternative parking. Some events have a base down in Brecon for parking, for administration, for briefings, and they bus everybody up to Pont de Daf.
Right.
And I think that's a really responsible attitude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, with your courses and stuff like that, how are you involved locally around here?
Locally, my background is mostly with the National Park, the Brecon Beacons National Park Authority. I left there about 10 years ago to develop my freelance career. I left the National Park as area manager for half the National Park.
Right.
So I know my knowledge of the National Park is good.
Yeah, I bet, yeah. And have you ever had to rescue anybody from around here? A real rescue? Or?
Years ago I was in Brecon Mountain Rescue Team for 5 years, and we would practice on a regular basis and often be called out. And generally we'd be called out in the dark or in poor weather conditions, by people thinking, hey, we'll go out,
Yeah.
without the skills, knowledge to
Yeah.
come back safely.
Yeah. Well, I know I went up Snowdon, and there's a little cafe halfway up, and in that cafe is all kind of newspaper prints and stuff like that of kind of women in high heels trying to climb the top, and you know, some really crazy stuff. Do you see a lot of that around here?
I see it, and I wonder. Last week I went to Penavan on quite an awful day as far as the weather was concerned. So I had all my waterproofs on,
Yeah.
good quality kit. It was still very, very cold. As I was coming down, I saw 3 adults coming up in shorts and hoodies, no rucksacks, no warm clothing.
Yeah.
I think one of them was a care worker with the other 2,
Right.
who seemed to be struggling to cope with the conditions.
Yeah.
And I just thought, what organisation or charity lets one of their staff take people up Penavan
Yeah.
on a day where there was a yellow weather warning?
Right.
It's beyond belief for me.
Yeah. 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 So when I first reached out to you, Al, as well, I said to you that I was a droner. First thing you said to me was, "Are you a responsible droner?" or something like that.
I did, and you said yes.
Yeah. Well, I am, of course.
I mean, national parks are for a place of quiet enjoyment.
Yeah.
I have no objections to drones.
Yeah. I was going to say, what's your views? And have you had any problems up here with droners? This is quite a controversial.
I have no. I mean, they say they're not noisy, are they?
Not massively.
No.
You can hear them, but
so long as they're not whizzing through my face
yeah.
and my immediate personal space.
Got you.
And at the moment, you just don't see many. In fact, I've never seen one on the beacons.
No, I've only ever seen a couple of videos of
If I was walking up the main path from Pont de Daf and there were 20 drones following me,
yeah.
I might take that personally. I think, no, that's intrusive.
Yeah. Well, being a droner myself, a lot of people, the first thing they say to me is, "Oh, spying." And people that don't know about drones, they don't like them flying over them because they think you're looking at them as opposed to the scenery.
Well, I don't sunbathe naked in my garden, so if there was one in the area, it wouldn't be a massive concern to me. And they can be valuable for some of the rescue services.
Yeah, of
the
course.
Police,
Yeah.
mountain rescue.
Yeah, that's it. So from pen and van to Everest, Kilimanjaro, you've done a lot of things.
I've been lucky.
Yeah. What's the highlight of your mountaineering?
One of my highlights was walking a completely blind hiker, trekker, into Everest Base Camp.
Wow.
On his 60th birthday.
Yeah.
He had asked 4 or 5 companies in the UK if they would take him, and they all declined.
Right.
I was working for a company then on a casual basis, and the company asked me, and I said, well, hey, why wouldn't I take him?
Yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
Yeah, right.
So he made it. He made this dreadfully corny speech at base camp on his 60th. Brought tears to my eyes, but it was worthwhile. On the way down, groups coming up were seeing him and said, did he get there?
Yeah.
And they were giving him a standing ovation.
Really?
Really? So we're walking down, saying standing ovation.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
And
Very touching.
What's the most challenging climbs you've done?
Have I done anything challenging?
Kilimanjaro, not challenging?
Yeah, all right. Hey, let's talk about Kili. Okay.
Most people.
I was on Kili to write a risk management plan for a charity company that wanted to start taking groups to Kili. Yeah, Kili, the last 8 hours to the summit from the Barafu camp. Hey, it's hard work.
Yeah.
You start off around midnight. Excuse me. And you're up there on the crater rim for the sunrise, which I've got to say was truly spectacular.
Right.
I had a slight issue. I was travelling with a friend of mine who didn't like taking medication and drugs, and he was quite poorly with traveller's diarrhea the day before, so I offered him the medication I would use, and it was a real struggle to get him to take it.
Right.
But I said to him, do you want to get to the summit at midnight?
Yeah.
But he said yes, so I said take these and don't argue.
Right.
So we both got to the top.
Yeah, what's it like for weather? Is it always good weather there, or is
We've been warned of massive snowfall.
Really?
So we were warned, recommended to take crampons and ice axes. We both have appropriate winter skills. I have a winter mountain leader award as well as my international award. So yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very good. What else? I've been to Patagonia a couple of times.
Yeah.
Probably my best ever trek in the world. My entire life was in Patagonia.
Yeah. And do you meet many British people from when you're on these treks?
I mean, people from all sorts of nationalities.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, what about training and things like that? Do you do training courses or?
Yes, I run mountain training courses through the Mountain Training Organisation. A couple of awareness courses, hill skills and mountain skills. Then we get on to the leadership courses. Lowland Leader Award and the Hill and Moorland Leader Award. The Hill and Moorland Leader Award is particularly popular in this area. It's ideal for the Brecon Beacons.
Right.
Beyond that, you can progress up to the Mountain Leader Award if you're going to be doing more challenging walks in the Highlands, Scotland, the Lakes, Snowdonia. That's the Mountain Leader Summer Award. There is then a Winter Mountain Leader Award, which is about Scotland.
Right.
And then the International Mountain Leader Award. So I run mountain training courses up to the Hill and Moorland Leader Award. I run high altitude first aid courses. I run a 2-day travel and expedition first aid, ideal for people heading off to the bigger mountain ranges. I run the Royal Geographical Society course, which is called Off-Site Safety Management.
Right.
And that's all about planning, managing and reviewing overseas events. And I work very closely with, there's a new British standard for overseas adventures.
Right.
And it's BS 8848, published in 2014. I run training workshops for that. 8848 is, of course, is the height of which mountain?
Say that again.
88 BS 8848.
Right.
Okay, Okay, what is the 8848 symbolic of?
I don't know.
The highest mountain in the world.
Really?
Everest is 8848.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I have a good life, I have a good career.
Yeah.
I go to lots of interesting places.
Yeah.
I meet lots of interesting people.
You must be seriously busy with all this going on.
I passed my Best Buy date, or my sell by date.
That was
a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But I think whilst I'm still lucky enough to enjoy good health, hey, I'm going to keep on doing it.
Yeah, and the great thing is it gets you out and walking and moving all the time and earning money as well. And doing something
For my heart system, I earn some money at it as well.
Yeah.
But it's just the wonderful places I can visit and take people with me.
Totally, yeah.
To share those fantastic places.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. I mean, you can't beat the memories and places you go like that.
Well, I only really sleep at night if I've got a couple of trips already planned in my diary.
Yeah.
I can lie awake at night thinking, I haven't got a trip planned.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure I'll be coming with you up Everest, so
Wow.
I'll be doing some droning up there, which will be pretty spectacular.
Already assured me you're a responsible drone operator.
Yeah, of course I am, yeah. So, yeah.
Well, isn't this view fantastic?
Yeah, it's stunning. So I'll just turn around so you can see. Up here's Pen Van, that's where I'm going to be heading to next. And it's a completely gorgeous day as well, which is super lucky as well, because when I arranged to meet you, I was a week ago, and anything can happen in a week with the weather.
Yeah.
So we are incredibly lucky.
Well, it's good to be prepared though, even on fine days.
Yeah.
Appropriate clothing, equipment, skills.
Yeah, so Al, you're a member of the Walking the Brecon Beacons Facebook group as well, which is where I found you.
Yeah.
Which is a great group. If you're not a member of that and you're interested in the area, I'll put the link below this video as well.
Okay.
So there's some fantastic photography and stuff like that. Are you involved in any of that? Are you involved in the Facebook group much at all?
When I'm running a trade like the Everest Base Camp, participants are all in a Facebook group.
Right, got you.
So if one person has a question, they can pop it on there, if I approve it of course, for public knowledge. So then I put the answer in, and all the people going will see that answer.
Right, yeah.
Quite often I'm faced with people who are a bit embarrassed about asking questions.
Yeah,
Hey, bang it on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'll provide a response.
Yeah.
But that works well.
Yeah.
I'm in various other professionals. I have my own Facebook group, Bigfoot Services Limited.
Right, yeah. I'll check that out. What about the photography? You've got a nice camera there. Do you do much on the photography side?
It's a hobby, but I once had £1,000 for one photo.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Was that local here, or was that?
It was a photograph I took in Peru.
Right. Wow.
But really, you need one a week, don't you, to have to give up your day job?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's. I think it's a tough.
But I share my photos after my trips.
Yeah.
I've got albums on Facebook as well.
Yeah, they up for people to see publicly. Yeah.
I'm not an expert, but having a good piece of equipment does help.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So, what would you say is the most vital thing to somebody coming to pen a van? What's the most vital piece of kit for the average person?
Hey, a good set of waterproofs. Like this. Yeah. Top and bottom. I've got. Hey, I'm out in the summer. I still got a set of waterproofs in my rucksack. Yeah. If you get wet, hypothermia is a possibility.
Yeah.
And people should never be afraid to get halfway up a mountain and say, "No, not today. Let's go down. Let's come back another day."
Yeah.
Do people know where to get the best weather forecast?
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, the Met Office do a specific mountain weather forecast for the Brecon Beacons and other areas. So that's the weather forecast I rely on. Yeah. And I've always found it good.
Yeah.
But it's having the courage to wake up and you see the whole of Wales is covered by a yellow warning. You think, no, we're not going to do it today.
No,
we'll come back on a day when people will enjoy it more.
Yeah. I've seen recently there's been snow on the top. There's been quite a lot of people that don't actually look like they're that experienced posting pictures on Facebook.
Yeah, that's the problem. There were no serious accidents. The slopes aren't particularly steep here, where most of the people are using to get up and down Pen y Fan.
Yeah. Are there any dangerous parts up there that really should be for very experienced people?
A lower leg injury is the most common form of injury to anybody walking in the hills and mountains of the UK.
Right.
Yeah. So you're not going to hop down on a broken leg.
No. You know, funnily enough, when I did go up Pen y Fan, just up top there's kind of rocks which step down, and I jumped down from one to the other, twisted my ankle a bit.
Oh my word.
And I thought, whoa, that was close. I thought that would have been nasty if I'd really twisted it back.
That is an issue.
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen people up there navigating on iPads.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no map, no compass.
Yeah, yeah.
Out in poor weather.
Yeah.
With a big iPad.
Yeah, right, yeah, yeah, I see that.
I've always got a map, compass, group shelter,
yeah,
group equipment like a first aid kit. I've always got GPS as well as paper maps.
Yeah.
I've got a compass, I've got a whistle, I've got a strobe light I can stick in the ground.
Right.
When I'm out, which is often by myself, I have to think, I leave my route behind in my house.
Right.
So I use electronic mapping. I've done my route. Should I not return home, hopefully somebody will be alarmed. You can't always count on that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, I leave my route behind.
Right.
In some of the hotels I stay at in other parts of the UK, they will require you to fill out a route card before you leave the hotel and go out to the hills.
Right. Yeah.
That's good. So if you don't come back by a certain time,
yeah,
the alarm will be raised.
Yeah.
And the important thing is, though, you need to keep to the route that you declared to your hotel or your partner or your wife.
Yeah.
If you think, I'm going to walk over there,
Yeah.
nobody will come and look for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
When we start off on the nav train, we start from the corner of the gate we came out. And there's a little stream just over this first brow before the fence.
Yeah.
And we go, so we haven't walked more than 150 metres. And we're standing in this stream, it's often it's dry,
Yeah.
but it's a definite feature and it's marked on the map. And I asked people to tell me where I am. And like, the results can be quite wide ranging. really.
Yeah.
But it's an introduction to mountain navigation.
Yeah.
I just wanted them to teach them. I want them to
Yeah. Yeah.
estimate.
Yeah. And do you enjoy doing those courses?
I love it.
Yeah.
I did 10 free courses for the group last year.
Yeah.
I've just done my second now.
Yeah.
They're pretty much always fully subscribed.
Yeah.
And I enjoy them.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I should have as part of my company policy to help other people.
Yeah.
To start to enjoy the mountains.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We're surrounded by them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and it's definitely stunning. And what about, do you work with the military as well, did you say?
I was in Winchester yesterday.
Yeah.
A place called Worthy Down.
Right.
There's a group from there going off to Everest Base Camp in May, and they needed high altitude first aid training.
Right.
I own a portable altitude chamber, which is a key bit of high altitude rescue equipment. So the course finishes off with everybody getting inside the portable altitude chamber and experiencing what it would be like if they became ill at high altitude.
Yeah.
With either acute mountain sickness,
Yeah.
high altitude pulmonary edema or cerebral edema.
Yeah.
Hey, the only way they're going to survive at night when rescue helicopters can't fly is in the bag.
Yeah. That is the one thing that worries me about Everest, is the altitude. What was that you said, the pleurisma? What exactly is that?
Pulmonary is, pretty much in simple terms, if you have a pulmonary edema, it's your chest.
Right.
Maybe fluid in the chest, lungs.
Got it.
Yeah, it can be, to start off with, you might think somebody's having a heart attack.
Right.
Because they'll clutch their chest. And
Right.
my experience with this in Nepal was with somebody who'd had a deep vein thrombosis, and I'd left him in a clinic for 5 days and picked him up on the end.
Yeah.
Then he became really at night, so put him in the chamber. He was a big fella. He tried to claw his way out of this chamber, and I got him out. I was able to buy some oxygen and kept him on oxygen until daylight when a helicopter came in.
So does oxygen help with that?
Oxygen will always help.
Right. Yeah.
But hey, are you carrying it? Or some of the villagers have it because climbing expeditions, when they pay off their Sherpas, give them equipment. and that might involve oxygen as well. So
yeah.
it was the oxygen that really kept him going through the night, really.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
well,
So can altitude sickness, can that be fatal? Or
yes, you can die from it.
Right. So
There are 4 stages. Acute mountain sickness might be headaches, a bit of nausea. When you take a rest, your breathing is still laboured.
Right.
Nausea, vomiting. So there's a whole list of options.
Yeah.
So if you only get one of those things, it's not a massive issue. But if you start accumulating things that are wrong with you for acute mountain sickness, you need it to no further ascent in the portable altitude chamber, ideally descend.
Yeah.
And quite often people just don't tell you they're poorly. You can tell. I mean,
Yeah, because they're desperate to get to the
I've
top.
been summit fever.
Yeah.
So you can tell they're not eating.
Right.
They're not laughing at your corny jokes.
Yeah.
I measure their oxygen intake and their pulse twice a day with a pulse oximeter.
Right.
So I know who's going to be good and bad.
Yeah.
People who've paid £2,000 or £5,000 to £6,000 for more challenging trips,
Yeah.
they're not going to tell you if they're ill
No.
because they know you're going to send them home.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's difficult. It's not always easy being a leader.
Yeah. So you've got to make that decision. Pull the trigger.
Yeah, it's not always easy. The
Yeah.
last thing they want to hear. On a trip 2 or 3 years ago to Nepal to climb a 6,400 meter peak, I sent 4 people home off that trip.
Right.
Not all at the same time. They all became ill or needing evacuation.
Yeah.
So that's 4 people in one trip
Yeah.
who'd all paid certainly $5,000 or pounds.
Yeah. And how determined were they to get to the top? Did you literally have to fight them to send them back down, or were they quite willing to
2 were mid-evac on the way up, and 2 on the way down.
Right.
The 2 on the way up, one had a heart condition anyway, and we're walking up the trail as you do, and all of a sudden he said, "I can't see, I've gone blind," and collapsed unconscious on the floor.
Yeah.
So it's alarming, however trained you are, when it happens, it's quite alarming.
Right.
So I suspected he'd had a minor heart attack. So I suspect also he was dehydrated. I hadn't seen. People don't know. The way to become acclimatized at high altitude is to really make sure your hydration is appropriate.
Right.
So he flew out daylight the next day, and then 2 days later someone else said, "This trip is just too much for me. I'm not physically fit enough or strong enough." So he flew out.
Right.
$6,000 a time.
Yeah.
And on the way back, there was a minor injury, and then the last one out, medevac number 4, I suspected he had pneumonia.
Right.
He had all the signs and symptoms. So on the phone,
Yeah.
"Hey, you want to send another helicopter my way?" And people sometimes say, "Blimey, you've had a lot to cope with, Alan, and maybe you're just not lucky.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't come with you." And I say, "You should come with me, because I know how to resolve all of these issues."
Yeah, that's it. It's experience.
As you'll find out in November.
Yeah. Well, that's experience, isn't it, Al?
It is.
When I did my drone test, they all were laughing at me because I crashed my drone a lot. But I said it's experience, you know. Now I know not what to do, what not to do.
Hey, cruise liners crossing the Atlantic now have a better look at than the captain of the Titanic had, don't they?
Yeah, that's it.
And with aviation as well, quite often it takes an instant
Yeah.
to find out what's wrong with the
The
aircraft, or more commonly what's wrong with the pilot.
Yeah. So with the altitude sickness, because this is what I'm worrying about.
Okay.
When we go, like a percentage. Say you had 10 people, roughly what percentage of people are going to be affected by it? Because it doesn't affect everyone, does it?
I might say everyone in the group's going to get one sign or one symptom of AMS, acute mountain sickness.
Right.
And you might wake up with a headache one morning.
And that could just be it.
It's just a little painkiller,
Right.
and on we go.
Yeah.
It's when all of those different signs and symptoms start accumulating.
Yeah. Right.
And there is there's a structure chart called the Lake Louise chart, which has a scale, all the different signs and symptoms. So if you had a bit of nausea and a bit of headache, that would be 2 points.
Yeah.
So if you score 1 to 3 points, you can carry on with the activity.
Yeah.
If then, not just feeling nauseous, if you're actually physically vomiting, you'd go up to 5 points. And with 5 points, you can't ascend.
Right.
So you're going to stay where you are.
Yeah.
The Sherpa would stay with you, hopefully bring you up the next day. If on top of that you fail to laugh at my corny jokes, you'd score an extra 3 points.
That's three.
This would be severe. This would be severe AMS, and you're going down.
You kicked off
You're
anyway.
going down. Anyone doesn't laugh at my jokes goes down.
Yeah, that's it. Regardless of altitude sickness.
But it's not rocket science. You know, I'm an expeditioner. I'm qualified and experienced.
Yeah.
I can tell when someone's not well.
Yeah, that's
You know,
it.
if after dinner, when everyone's playing Uno and having drinking tea and coffee and stuff,
Yeah.
if somebody just slopes off to their bed, I'm instantly worried.
Yeah.
If somebody says they're not coming for dinner, hey, that's setting alarm bells for me.
Yeah, right, because you're hungry after walking all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So loss of appetite's another sign or symptom of AMS.
Yeah, that's quite interesting what you said, actually. What are the evenings like up there?
Well, it gets cold very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So our trip is in tea houses or lodges,
Right.
but it can still be cold. Up at the higher points, it might be minus 10 or 15 outside. So you need a good down jacket and a good quality sleeping bag.
Yeah.
But good down jackets and sleeping bags are included in the trip.
Right.
They're loaned to us by the local operator. Kamal has been my friend for many years.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and you really need the best gloves you can get.
Yeah.
You know, I've had good. Last time I went up that trail, my gloves were about 150 quid worth.
Right.
On one day at a place called Le Boucher, 4,500 metres. My hands are cold. I thought, what? My hands are cold.
Yeah.
And so everyone was the same. So get your gloves off, bit of warming up routine, get your hands under your own armpits, not other people's.
Yeah.
And then, I was really surprised.
Yeah.
So I don't normally.
No.
I was really super cold out there. There we are. Back to the centre.
Yeah. So, I was with Alan just a couple of minutes ago, that way. Now walking up to the top of Penavan. Spectacular day. And talking to Alan was absolutely amazing. Such a great guy. Managed to talk me into doing the Everest trip in November, so if I can pull it off, I'll be droning from Everest, which will be incredible. But today, wind again, as usual, is going to be the enemy, so hopefully I can pull this off. I'm trying to do a 360 panoramic, which has never been done in the history of mankind, on the top of Penavan, so I hope I can do it. Guys, quick roundup. So first of all, talking to Alan was absolutely brilliant. He's such an interesting guy. He's got so many stories and stuff to tell, and his knowledge is absolutely phenomenal. He's a really humble guy, really interesting. If you don't know him, then definitely would take a chance to take him up on one of his free courses and get to know him, because he's a brilliant guy. So I left him on Friday, went straight up Penavan, and it was just too windy to get any good drone shots. So it's now Sunday morning. I got up at 4 o'clock this morning and went up there for the sunrise, and it was worth every second. The wind was not too bad, so I won't know till I get home how good the pictures are, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to have something good. Hopefully, I tried a 360, full 360 panoramic. So I could well be the first person in human history to have pulled that off. I don't know if anyone else has done one. I've never seen one, and probably because of the wind situation up there. Because literally, as you walk up, it's hardly windy at all at the bottom, and then as soon as you break that peak, the wind is just coming up the valley and across the top. So when I got up there this morning, it was a little windy, and I thought, but I took the drone off and it was absolutely fine. So yeah, hopefully I got that. If I did, you'll be seeing it along with this video. Yeah, so with that said, thanks for watching the video. If you like the video, please hit the subscribe button below this video. Really helps me out as a YouTube creator. Getting those first few subscribers is tough, so yeah, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and if you want to see more great videos like this, then hit the bell notification. Also, if you've got any cool stories, or you want to talk about Penavan, the Brecon Beacons, or anywhere like that, let me know, reach out to me, and I'd love to have a chat with you and film you a bit. Apart guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.